this nonsense, this garbage. I do not care about Candace or Cardi B. The performances that they did, it's all trash, every last bit of it, of all the things that we could be doing. And the stuff with China building new cities with Bill Maher, it's like, no, I don't think so. And I have proof. Tired of the lies, tired, fed up with it, the fear mongering, all this BS. So hit the like, subscribe, become a member. I've got Patreon and subscribe stars. So now let's get into it. So we're going to start off with China and this crap about them building cities just like there's some kind of military threat. It's like the hell they are. I don't know what the hell. So I have watched these two. One is a Australian who moved to China, has a Chinese wife, and the other one is American, same thing, moved to China, has a Chinese wife. I think they started off because of business opportunities that they had of some sort, ended up finding a local and falling in love and getting married. Now they have kids. Anyways, they have this, there's two YouTube channels, ADV China, and the other one is, oh no, they're both ADV China. And then they also have their own separate YouTube channels, but the ADV China is where they're both together and they usually go riding around. So in the link, so I have two links in the description below, and one of them is titled Ghost City Inside the Chinese Housing Bubble. And the other one is, are new Chinese buildings really falling down? And the answer is yes, and yes, and yes, and yes, and yes. It's all crap. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean that there's the same standards and qualities that we're used to, and it doesn't mean that people are occupying it. You can go on YouTube and you can Google this stuff. You can search it for yourself, and you will find all of these links and videos to just all of these abandoned cities, abandoned buildings, horrible stuff. You know why? Because you don't own it. The communist government owns it all. And so what you do is that you lease it and you kind of do a rent for like 80 years or 50 years. I forget how many decades it is. And then you lose it. So their housing standards are trash. That's why all this stuff is falling apart, because you go and you do all this paperwork and you have it for 80 years and then you lose it. It goes back to the government, and then you have to do the whole damn thing over again. So what's the point of building something that's going to last for anything longer than that, because you're not going to have it? So no, it's all garbage. Just like with the military, and Tim Pool even talks about this, and Bill Maher, and where it's just, they don't have a Navy, they can't do any of this stuff. Even if they wanted to come over here, they just literally can't. It doesn't matter if you have 1 billion soldiers, which they don't, but if you did, it's like, if you can only transport 100 of them, how long is that going to take? And that's exactly the problem that they have. It's nothing but one damn lie on top of another. And so these two guys are really nice. They're really interesting. They were having a problem for a while because the Chinese government was cracking down on all this stuff, and they were coming back to the U.S. and they were going to Australia, kind of traveling around and seeing other things, because the Chinese government they're very authoritarian. They're going to tell you what you can or cannot say. They were kind of hidden underneath the radar, and they had a way to be able to get onto YouTube, because you can't quite do it over there. But good luck with all that, because technology just evolves too fast and it's just changing all the time. And so being able to stay on top of that is just like, good luck with that. You're just going to spin your wheels doing a whole bunch of nothing. But I'm fed up with it. And that's what I'm doing with all this stuff. It's like, I'm going to create this site because I'm fed up with, of all things. And then Tim Pool goes on and he talks about Cardi B and Candace Owens. I have a link in the description below, and how they're going back and forth with it, and with all the crap on the Grammys. It's like, of all the things to watch, I do not care about, I mean, I do, though. I mean, I don't want to care about Candace B and her stupid crap performance out there. I don't want kids seeing it. Any kids, my kids, your kids. I mean, if you really want your kids to see it, then yeah, go ahead, whatever. But there is absolutely 100% a stronger argument for why you don't need kids to see. The world is complicated and difficult enough, and that it's only becoming more and more complicated, and adults can't even figure out all this stuff. It's like, if you want a long-term lasting relationship, it's not based off of sex. You know why? Because there's nothing special based off of it. You can have sex with any man, woman, or child on the whole freaking planet, and it's just nothing. You know what really matters is what's going on in here. Are they crazy? Are they insane? Are they your polar opposite? Or are they actually something like you? And that means that you have to develop yourself first. You have to understand who you are and what you want out of life. And part of that is by doing the best that you can, and not just doing something because of A, B, and C. Oh, well, you should do this because you're a man or a woman or black or white or gay or straight or whatever. It's like, no. Do what is mostly the most effective and efficient to do because there's just too much to do. And I would much rather be seeing news about all of the great things and amazing things that people are doing. So in that way, I could be interested in that stuff and learn from them and then go out and do it myself. Well, it is so boring to stay locked up in home. And with the pandemic and whenever a snowstorm comes around, you know, people are always pulling their hair out, and you can tell how stressed out I am by it because my hair is almost gone. So, but whatever. And so that's why I also diet and exercise and work out, because I want to be able to have a good physically fit body so I can have strength and energy so that I can go out and do all these things, because there's a lot of great things to do out there. And it's really fun meeting people, especially whenever everybody's on the same page. So, and this, Tim, he's even talking about too, how he doesn't want to cover this stuff. It's like, of all the ridiculous nonsense out there, but this is what we have because we don't have good stuff. And he does talk about how Chinese people are, and their government are a little bit more on the same page. And yeah, in a way that they are. And whenever you have this conformity that people will report being happier with all of this stuff, and the happiest places, it's not only are they all the same, but whenever it's capitalist kind of driven, it's better than all that, and it's because individuality just knocks all this stuff. I'm going to have to talk about that with what's her name, Ron Paul or whatever her name is, but I think she's passed away now, and she came over from Germany or the Western Bloc somewhere over there, and just how powerful individuality is, and that it wins every single time. So whenever the Germans lost World War II, their chancellor, they went on a Sunday and they just said, he proclaimed that all these laws, especially governing around economics and business and stuff, they're just gone. Just wiped them off the book. And he did it on a Sunday because he knew that the Allied forces weren't going to be there in session to monitor all this stuff, and he got rid of it. And it just boom. And we see this around the world too. So after all these major conflicts where we actually stayed, so in Germany, Japan, and in South Korea, they were able to do something extremely special, and that was that they get the chicken pick and choose out of everything like a buffet. They said, yes, we like this with American culture, and we like this. We'll skip on this over here, but we'll take a little bit of this. We'll take a whole lot of that. And their economies have busted. You know why? Because they took a bunch of these capitalist things that we had going on, and they kind of made it a freer market. And it took decades in order to do that. So I am not about at all going into a place and just shooting it all up and then just leaving. It takes decades, because it's just this mindset that also has to change. And it's building things up, so then that way they're not so, they're going to think twice about blowing everything up and start destroying everybody, because it's like, well, I don't want to lose all my stuff, and I really like my friends and family, and things are going really good for me. I've got a good job, I've got a good pay, I've got a good house and car and all this stuff. It's like, yes, of course, it's going to make you think twice. I've got a good computer and laptop and cell phone and all that kind of jazz. And we have more stuff than ever, because back there in the day, it's like, no, you didn't have all this electronic stuff, especially not in the house. So, absolutely. And so you can see the difference between North and South Korea whenever you're looking at a satellite image from space. North Korea, it's black. There's like hardly anything there. South Korea, it's lit up like a damn Christmas tree. There's lights all over the place, and that's the difference between communism and capitalism. It's not a debate. The information is in, but we have all this low information going out to all of these people out there. So of course they're making bad decisions. I don't blame them. I blame the systems, that they're outdated. They're not being kept up to date through technology and the internet and everything that they're capable of doing, and these lying politicians that are all over the place. It's like, why don't they know this? Why isn't anybody doing anything about this? I mean, it's like, even with the Republicans who make these claims, it's like whenever they're in power, they don't do anything to reverse any of this stuff. They're just wet noodles. They don't do a damn thing. So, and then you see this again with the communist countries. So like Venezuela is the one that's going on right now. And if you watch stuff about Milton Friedman, he talks about countries back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s, and 70s, because he's a much older gentleman. He's passed away by now, obviously. And he talks about it's the same thing with inflation and just pouring out money, and that it needs to be people who you also have to have. I think he made the case that, yes, you do need to kind of have an increase product. You need to turn on the printing presses to make more money, but it also has to go in part with the output, with the creation that people generate through all of the work and goods and services that they're producing, that the two kind of go hand in hand. And we can see the opposite effect of inflation whenever we take a look at Bitcoin, where they're not where Bitcoin doesn't make more money according to production. So yeah, it's just all trash. It just I'm gonna end up being bald before all of this is done because I've only got so much hair to pull out. So I'm doing much better on the video times here right now. So this is at 10 minutes. Seems like it's a good place to start. I hope you've enjoyed all of this, and we will catch you later. Thanks a lot for watching. Goodbye.